See, for me, focusing is a fresh thing that I have to do now. So when I come into myself and I say, how are you? I find certain feelings there. Some of them are there every day, and some of them are there only now. But I find feelings that I can immediately identify. Oh, yes, that. Oh, yes, that. Oh, yes, that. That's not focusing. For me, focusing is when I spend time going directly to that, whatever it is there. If I say to myself, yes, yes, but are you happy or are you comfortable? Or can we be joyful? Or beyond the feelings. I have to say hello to all the feelings. I have to do that. I say hello to them all. There's that, and there's that, and there's that. And one or another may even require some work, so I work for a while. And typically, after maybe some time, 3 or 4, 5, 10 minutes, something like that, then I say, oh, but you haven't focused yet. Which means to me, you haven't remembered to go freshly to that edge there, where you don't know. So if you're new to focusing, this may be confusing to you, but I will make it more clear. Another way to say it is, there's a huge difference between a feeling when you just feel it and a feeling that you are next to, a feeling that you receive, a feeling that you even welcome or acknowledge, a feeling that you touch, because then you are not that feeling. You touch. And the people who spoke before brought us that before the break. Many of them. There is this, and there is that. Yes? So, 2 points I'm making. One is focusing for me is spending time with what's directly here but not clear. I may have to welcome the feelings that are clear to me first. I may have to say, yeah, I'm still upset about what happened last night. Oh, yes, that's right, and now I'm discouraged, and I can't start to work until I get my discouraged over to the side. Oh, yes, 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 oh, yes. And there may be some new ones there. Yeah, I see, okay, what's that, what's that? But then at some point, I have to go to what I'm going to call, this is a technical term, what I'm going to call the murky edge. Now, murky, if you don't know English very well, is a funny word. Murky means unclear, foggy. Murk is the kind of weather when there's so much fog and rain and what that you can't tell where you are very well. That kind of a place. I have to go to how are you, where the answer is some kind of body sense that's not completely happy. You following me? Now, if I find that completely happy, I'm just grateful. That's fine, then I'm finished. Because that happens once a year, and so might as well enjoy it. But usually if I say, are you comfortable? Are you happy? Are you ready to go? Are you joyful? It says, And then I have to say, okay, what's And that's something like standing in front of a gray wall, and somebody says, what do you see? You know? Well, nothing. It's like going into a piece of wood. At first, it's impossible. And then a few seconds later, oh yeah, there's all this intricacy there. And that's focusing for me. Okay? So that's my main point. But my second point is, yes, to welcome, to acknowledge, to touch the feelings, that's also focusing, to be next to them. So in Afghanistan, they use Rumi, who is the poet who said, all your feelings are really guests. So go out and welcome each guest. And that's very right, because then you are not the guest, You own the house. And you welcome them and you say, oh yes, you know, you feel bad, but you're bringing me something, or I don't know yet what I'm going to do with you, but here's a room for you. And you take them upstairs and you show them where they can be. You acknowledge them, and all the time there's you. You welcome them. You acknowledge them. You touch them. You are next to them. Yes? And then when you've done that, then go to the murky edge, please. So I want to say what someone said here earlier. The 6 steps are not very good. It would be better to start teaching focusing from the murky edge and from welcoming the guests and from being you next to, not identified with the feelings. Or another way I have of saying it, it's better to start teaching focusing with something that people will not understand, so that they'll be interested. Because if you start with what is obvious, they say, yeah, yeah, that's a very good thing, and they're finished with you. So I find a lot of people, when I go to, I don't anymore, but I used to go to these big conventions, people say, oh, Gene Gendlin, focusing, hello, hello. And then they will go somewhere else, because focusing, anybody who is not out of touch has that already. See what I mean? Okay, that point is amazing.